Recently, William Barr shared his thoughts on what should be done to political opponents, and he certainly didn't hide how he feels about possibly prosecuting politicians he disagrees with. Barr reportedly instructed US attorneys during a conference call last week to seek several federal charges when prosecuting people accused of committing crimes related to demonstrations. He urged federal charges even when state charges could apply, sources told the newspaper. The Attorney General reportedly also encouraged federal prosecutors charge protesters with sedition. Barr says that Trump and the Department of Justice have unchecked, meaning unlimited power to do this. So where are all the right-wingers who claim that they were concerned about big government, because this is as big as it gets? The Attorney General has also asked prosecutors in the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division to explore whether they could bring criminal charges against Mayor Jenny Durkan of Seattle for allowing some residents to establish a police-free protest zone near the city's downtown. Where are all the free speech warriors? You know, all those grifters who made a big name of themselves by pretending as if they were victims of social media censorship. Where are they today? Are they concerned about what the federal government is trying to do to political opponents? Probably not. Probably not at all, because that's a angle that their grift couldn't profit off of. It's just so unbelievably terrifying that this is what's going on in our federal government, and there is no real, group of government officials, congressional leaders, whoever, people trying to stop it. This is serious. What he's advocating for is incredibly dangerous and what you would expect in a dictatorial regime.
Yeah, so 3 elements to this. First of all, here we are talking about arresting political opponents. I told you this a long time ago. At the time, everybody else in media was like, "Oh, it's hyperbolic. Oh, you guys are biased. You have to call everything even. Fascists and anti-fascists, they're all even. They're all even. I can't tell. Oh, there's no way they're going to do that." Here is the Attorney General of the United States saying we should consider arresting the mayor of Seattle. The story is 100% real. He was on the phone with other attorneys from the Justice Department. They're the ones who talked to the press and said, yeah, the Attorney General suggested arresting the mayor of Seattle. So let alone the sedition charges on protesters. Free speech. I mean, they're in their convention, they talked about cancel culture. They're like, now let's cancel anyone who is opposed to us by not just like, hey, we don't agree with you, but actually arrest them, take away their liberty, and put them into prison using the biggest weapon that the federal government has in terms of charges that they could bring: sedition. Sedition meaning you dared to disagree with the president and with the government, which, by the way, is your core right as an American. And we're gonna take that away because we hate freedom of speech, and we will imprison you for the wrong kind of speech. So I can't tell you how over the top this is. It's not like fascism. It's not the beginning of fascism. It is fascism. And so now the media, I read a great number of articles about it. They literally are calling it even. They're like, well, this is a troubling development, or it's an interesting development, and the attorneys say that he's considering doing this. On the other hand, supporters of the Attorney General say that fascism is awesome. Now, they don't say that because that would be a giveaway. They say, on the other hand, the federal supporters of the Attorney General say that it is really important to have law and order, and some of these protesters have caused some violence. Now, doesn't matter that it's a tiny percentage. It doesn't matter that he's not talking about arresting the people who do violence. You could just arrest them for assault or arson or whatever actual crimes they've committed. There's nothing wrong with that. He's talking about arresting people for having the ideas that don't agree with the government, for protesting the government through speech. That's what sedition charges are about. And the media, confronted with full-blown fascism, can't figure out who's right and who's wrong. And so that's how you get lulled into a false sense of complacency. If Trump wins, they will definitely start arresting their political opponents. And now the third final part for me on this is Bill Barr's quote. Anna, you probably have it too, but so he recently decried, quote, the criminalization of politics. They are so Orwellian, they're so over the top. Get a load of the rest of the quote. He says, now you have to call your adversary a criminal, and instead of beating them politically, you try to put them in jail. That's what you just suggested. That's what you just suggested. And he's saying it as if the Democrats are doing it. Unreal, man. So in less than 2 months, we will decide whether America exists or the concept of America has died. It's not.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually really exhausted with no, let's not do anything until the election comes up. You know, the election that Joe Biden is poorly campaigning for. You know, the election that we're putting all of our eggs in the basket of. But at the same time, what's being done to ensure that people who want to vote by mail can still do it now that Louis DeJoy has dismantled the post office and has taken a number of mail sorting machines out of order. They're out of order. And he hasn't reinstalled them. He doesn't care to reinstall them. It doesn't matter. What are Democrats doing? How about we're experiencing the beginning phases of fascism right now, and we don't have an opposition party in Congress to do what it takes to ensure that this country doesn't deteriorate into a country that's ruled by a dictatorial regime. How about that? Honestly, like anyone who's hopeful that things are gonna change after the election is insane. We don't even know if the election is gonna be carried out appropriately. We don't know if Donald Trump is gonna be willing to step down. If he doesn't step down, are we gonna rely on the military to do the right thing? I'm not. What are we doing? That's the thing that I'm worried about right now. Like this constant kicking the can down the road. Oh, the election. I mean, Joe Biden has no one on the ground in Michigan right now. They're doing all of their campaigning online. Insane. Anyway, sorry to be hysterical here, but it's crazy that we're experiencing this with the Trump administration. We have no real opposition party, okay? And I don't know. I don't know what people think is gonna happen, but I don't think that the day after the election, fascism will be beaten and we'll be on the right path. I think that we're in for a lot of trouble because we're not preparing for what's about to come.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the usual, which is the Democrats are unfortunately incredibly weak, and so if you're relying on them not to get rolled over, oh boy, Trump has already said we might not count all the votes. So what? Not going to count them. Then Roger Stone suggested that maybe the federal government will seize the ballots in Nevada, and so that way you won't ever find out. The only people who'll be able to tell you who won Nevada will be Trump. Okay, and I'm sure he'll be incredibly honest about it. And the very next day, Trump came out and said, yeah, there are problems in Nevada. We don't like the governor. I'm not sure I trust him to count the votes. So, and to Anna's point, what are the Democrats doing to make sure that federal government doesn't seize ballots in Nevada? I mean, look, that sounds insane, but the president said, backing up his top henchmen, we might not count the votes in the states, and I got a particular problem with Nevada, and so I'm gonna figure out what to do about it. The Democrats, I don't know that they have prepared for any of this. I mean, there's 1,000 dirty tricks that Trump and the Republicans are gonna throw. The Democrats don't even have any clean tricks. So, Biden's gotta win by like 10 points for them to have any chance of winning. If Biden only wins by 3 or 4, they will almost certainly steal this election.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.